As a child, I only saw my father at meals and when he was angry. If my brother, my sister, and I made too much noise, Dad came into the room holding a thick, knobby cane. He never hit us with the cane. He used a wooden yardstick instead. He stopped using the yardstick when he broke it across my back. I was 7. Garbage bags full of empty beer cans crowded our garage. When he ran out of room, Dad took them in for the nickel deposit. Like his own father, my dad was an alcoholic. When I was 15, Dad gave up drinking and started Alcoholics Anonymous instead. I still hardly ever saw him. He never drank again. He also never smiled. After Dad sobered up, he only lost his temper twice. First, when he beat my brother and threw him out of the house, and then when he did the same to my sister. I never consciously thought, I don't want to mess up a child's life the way my dad messed up mine. I just knew I would never be a dad. For 16 years, I was married to a woman who didn't want children. That was fine with me. I had changed my nephew's diapers when they were babies and took them to Harry Potter movies when they were teens. I didn't feel like I had missed much. But shortly after my 37th birthday, recently divorced and tired of eating across from my cat, I started dating Becky. Becky was full of life and energy, the kind of force that draws people in. Strong, Cuban, and beautiful, and a mom. I decided to take things one day at a time. Becky could make me smile no matter how bad my day was. Even cooking together or just reading in silence on the couch felt special. Barely 4 months in, I realized I would do anything to keep her. It was time to meet her son. Dylan was 5 years old when he entered my apartment for the first time. He was deliriously happy about everything. Wow, a cat! I shall chase! A daybed! I shall jump! A chair! I shall sit briefly and then slide to the floor while I will pretend that I am a cat. My heart pounded. My stomach roiled. I looked down at this grinning, hazel-eyed little gremlin, and I froze. 2 days later, we went out to lunch. Dylan held the door open for us and for strangers. He colored the kids' placemat until the food arrived. After lunch, he fell asleep curled against me. Again, I decided to take things one day at a time. A few months later, Becky house sat for her parents. For 3 weeks, the three of us played house. One night while I made dinner, Dylan asked if he could call me Daddy. I didn't panic. Instead, warmth flooded my heart. It took a moment before I could answer with a steady voice. When we moved in together, playtime ended. I learned how Dylan acted when he wasn't on his best behavior. Unfortunately for Dylan, I had non-negotiables for living with a child. First, if we served it, he had to eat it. I refused to make him a hot dog after I spent hours chopping vegetables for a homemade beer batter tempura. Second, he had to sleep in his own bedroom. I couldn't sleep sharing a bed with him and Becky. I had quickly learned that a sleepless dad was not a patient dad. Dinners and bedtimes became battles with 2 outcomes. On good nights, I picked him up and he'd wrap around me like a monkey. I'd tell him that being in trouble didn't mean I didn't love him. I'd tell him I was right on the other side of the wall if he needed me. I'd lay him down and he would drift off right away. I felt like Father of the Year. Other nights, I had no patience. His rebellions left me drained and exhausted. I gripped the kitchen counter to keep my hands still. I choked back the obscenities I wanted to shout, marched him to bed, and flicked off the light. On nights like these, while I listened to Dylan cry himself to sleep, I understood my father. Dad kept his distance from my siblings and me because he was afraid of his own anger. Like me, he was probably afraid to mess up a child's life. Dylan was so open. I didn't want to snuff that out and make him closed off, like me. So I did things that made me uncomfortable. I took Dylan to the park, just the two of us. We packed food and walked, biked, or power-wheeled. The first time we biked. Whenever we passed a surveyor's X on the sidewalk, Dylan jumped off his bike so he could dig for treasure. Then we got lost. When we finally found a park with nothing but grass, trees, and 2 benches, we made up our own games. Zombie chase, stick toss, creepy tree. When we first moved in together, a friend of mine had said, "Kids are easy. Just give them lots of love, that's all they need." Obviously, this man has no children. Saying that is like saying building pyramids is easy. You just keep piling rocks up till they're 500 feet tall, then stick a dead pharaoh inside. On weekends, we dropped Dylan off at his dad's. I didn't understand why Becky got so quiet on the drive home. I figured it was a mom thing. I felt relieved. It took a 1.5 years of living with Dylan before I finally got it. We didn't drop him off for us because we needed a break. We dropped Dylan off for him so he could spend time with his biological dad. Like Becky, I started to miss him as soon as we pulled away. I wanted them all to ourselves. When Becky and I got married, Dylan was our ring bearer. He didn't want the job, but he did want the outfit. He asked if the wedding made us family. "What do you think?" I asked. He thought about it. "No," he said. "Becky and Mike are my family." I died a little inside. Then he asked, "Want to be my family too from now on?" I said, "Yes, absolutely." Me, who swore I'd never be a father.